Hey guys, Jerry Berg, the Poor Historian, and I am finally getting around to making more videos for the channel. Hooray! Crazy stuff has been happening. Not small among them being the Arnold Fencing Classic, which I participated in the Sabre and the Longsword tournament. Very excited, and I wanted to share with you the weapon, or training tool if you want to be technical, that helped me get 7th place out of 16 at the Sabre tournament. Got a cool medal for it too. Want to give a shout out to the Arnold Fencing Classic. Those guys are great. So the weapon that I used in the tournament last minute was this beautiful 38-inch blade right here, 38-inch saber right here. This is the VB Gymnasium Sabre, distributed in the US by Purpleheart Armory. Now these guys, Purpleheart Armory, they're awesome. They are fantastic. You will never have bad experience with them. So this is just phenomenal, the saber itself. My first impression when I pulled it out, to be honest, was this looks like an original gymnasium saber. Like this one I've got on the wall behind me. So you can see this one here, original, probably late 1800s, early 1900s, but it has the cup hilt with a little lip up on the back. It curves around your hand a bit. I don't want to take this guy off the wall too long, but enough to show you what I'm looking for when I have this guy. So the VB Gymnasium Sabre has exactly that. It has this little lip on the back. It curls around your hand a bit. It's a very solid cup, which is fantastic, especially for the way that I fight saber. And especially when I compare that to my two previous experiences, which are the bottom of the barrel sabers, the Cold Steel Training Sabre and the Hanwei Hutton, which have very weak cups. This one is nice and solid, which I love. Also the blade. Now my first impression of the blade was that it was too thin. You know, it looks really thin. I thought, oh my God, is this a fencing saber? You know, a sport fencing saber? But it is solid. And it's got some heft behind it, but not a lot. This is a replica gymnasium saber, not a replica military saber. But it's very solid, and I thought it wouldn't be. I also looked at the tip. Very, very happy to see roll the tip, which is perfect if you wanted to add something on top of it, like a walking stick cap or an arrow blunt, or just leave it like this. Any of those ways are fine. The flex, beautiful flex. Lovely, lovely. I love it. I really can't... There's only one negative thing to say about this saber, and it comes with a story. And the story was, after I broke my Hanwei Hutton, I was searching last minute, scrambling to find a steel saber to spar with in the Arnold Fencing Classic before it started. I was looking all over the place. It was crazy. I was trying to find... You know, I was asking all the U.S. distributors, do you have anything? Please, I'm begging you. And I got the VB Sabre, beautiful, but I only picked it up like 2 weeks before the tournament. So I only had enough time really to train with it one time. So I trained with it, and it was beautiful. It was rigid. It was solid. I was like, yes, this is such a solid saber. I could hit things with this, and nothing's going to shake it. And then I packed it away, and I pulled it out of my bag for the tournament for the day of, and the cup was incredibly loose, and I was really worried about that. It was something, it reminded me back when I was trying different hilts for my Hanwei Hutton. Where is it? Broken blade, that's why I had to replace it right here. So what I was doing was trying to replace my Hanwei Hutton cup hilt with something more historical, and I tried so many different varieties, and they were all so loose it made sparring with it really dangerous, until I found a nice tight one, and I tightened it up with a nice nail in there. So, anyway, I pulled it out of my bag at the tournament, and the cup was just so loose, and I was terrified. It was almost not able to be sparred with, and I did some bad stuff. For example, if you can take a close look up here, I actually I tore out all the angles in the hex nut on the bottom here because I was just so desperate to just crank it on there because nothing was tightening up this cup. I had no idea what to do. I finally borrowed another fighter's pocket knife that had a wrench on it. There we go, pliers on it, and I just cranked it tight, and it tore up the metal around it. I don't know if this particular piece is just made out of, softer metal or what, but I did I was so desperate. Here I am, literally full gear, sitting at the Arnold Fencing Classic, just like, please, I need a fight, please. And it wasn't working, so I finally said, F it. I took it all apart. I had some duct tape. I did so many different random little things. I don't know what it was that fixed it. You can see I put some duct tape on under this nice leather disc that they put up here to protect your fingers. Awesome. I also, when I took the cup off, I just kind of pulled it apart with my bare hands to kind of keep it nice and tight on here. I'll put it back together. Now it's fine. I mean, it has a very little shake to it, but I really haven't fiddled with it yet to make it nice and tight. I think the problem would come from this pommel kind of cup cap here. It's a little hollow. I think what I might do is try to put a couple washers in under there before putting on the hex bolt. I think that's what's going to solve the problem. I haven't done it yet. At the end of the day, it's a very minor thing. It was my fault for just kind of, not my fault, it was waiting to the last minute to get a decent steel saber to fight with. That was the problem. And then I pull it out ready to fight, and it has a problem, and I just didn't know how to deal with it. Nothing against the saber, because now it's perfectly fine. I've been using this to teach my to teach my Alfred Hutton saber combat class over the past 3 weeks, and been doing just perfectly fine with it. So just one little issue that bugged me, and it just kind of revealed I guess you'd say the weakness of the metal. It did strip out the nut pretty well, though I was pretty desperate in cranking it on there. A few other little features I wanted to point out, just little things that I love. One would be, you have the beautiful Purpleheart Armory stamp right here in the bottom of the blade. Love it. Also, very, very minor details that you might not notice at first. One is that the bottom of the blade here flares out just slightly enough to make sure it's nice and solid down here at the bottom by the cup, where a lot of the pressure is going to be put against it. One other thing that I noticed, and it might not show up too well, but I'll see if I can show it. There's just a teeny little kind of divot in the hole that the tang goes through on this side and on this side. I don't know if you can see it, just a teeny little hole. And I wonder if they did that on purpose to solve the exact same problem that I was having. Just a teeny enough hole where you could find a little nail or wedge or something and just jam it in there to make it nice and solid. I'm not sure. I haven't messed with it yet, but that might be it too. I liked that little feature. I did mention before the little disc of leather keeps your fingers nice and soft. And the other thing, and this is something I really love, if you look on the back here, I don't know if I can get it in the light right. There we go. Ridges right there where your thumb is supposed to go for proper saber stance, at least in terms of Alfred Hutton and a few others, where you keep your thumb on the back instead of gripping it like that. You keep it like that. And I think that's fantastic, because not only does it add some support for keeping your thumb in place, but it also encourages proper form through its construction, which is awesome. It does have a leather grip. Might slide around a little bit in your hand, but once you have your leather glove on there, nice tight grip. And just the blackened cup. Now, the blackened cup is something that I was told by Christian at Purpleheart that they may or may not keep. I personally like it. I think this looks just hardcore right here. I can understand why they might not want it. Let's see if I can find an example. I thought there was one on here that showed up pretty well, but if you take a nice heavy cut on the cup, and a lot of manuals encourage blocking with the cup, or at least near the cup, it would show off. It would cut through the blackening, and then it would have a nice shiny gouge in it. Maybe. I personally like this. I think it has a really unique look with the bright shiny blade and the blackened cup. I really like that unique recognizable look to it. And at the end of the day, this is just a phenomenal saber, to the point where I don't feel like I need to upgrade this saber at all. With this one, I feel like I've reached the pinnacle of what I want from a saber. So this is phenomenal. This is phenomenal. $250 was the last that it was online. I'm not sure if they're changing it. I know both Purpleheart and VB are very, very good at updating their supplies based on the reviews of the customers. So they may change it, and if they do and it requires a little bit more money, good on you, because that's fine if that happens. Or if you keep it at $250, that's fine too. One last note, you guys may have seen my previous videos, specifically the ones about Civil War combat. I do eventually plan on replacing the hilt with a Civil War appropriate style, just like that Hanwei Hutton, which I already threw back there, that I showed you earlier in the video. Might not do a cavalry saber hilt. I might be doing an officer's saber hilt, but I just need to find it. And the good thing about this saber is that you can easily do it. You don't need to break anything. It just comes apart with that hex nut on the bottom. So if that's something that you guys wanted to do too, to kind of customize your own style or represent your favorite era of history, you can do that too. Like I said, at the end of the day, phenomenal saber. I really encourage everyone who is able to get a saber like this, because for $250, for the strength and the quality that you get with this one, that is unbeatable. That is unbeatable. So I'm just so happy to have fought with this, to have received this one in time for the tournament, because it definitely helped me get my placed spot on the winner's bracket, or whatever you want to call it. So phenomenal. Check that out. I'm also going to be updating the videos, or uploading the videos from the Arnold Fencing Classic Sabre tournament sometime soon. Bear with me, I've got a lot of stuff going on. But I'm glad I could get this video out here in time that I could. And until next time, see you around.